Hello friends, uh, here I am going to discuss about the Rinderpest disease in cattle. So first of all, we discuss the synonym of the disease. Synonym is cattle plague. The Rinderpest disease is also called as the cattle plague. Definition: it is highly contagious, the viral disease of cattle characterized by high fever, necrotic stomatitis, gastroenteritis, diarrhea, and has high mortality caused by morbillivirus. So disease caused by morbillivirus. Then the etiology of the disease is morbillivirus. The virus is antigenetically closely related to the canine distemper, PPR of sheep and goat, and measles in humans. The incidence of the disease has been foremost the cause of death in the cattle in African and Asian countries, including India. Rinderpest has been reported since June 1995 in Indian subcontinent. The seriousness of the disease made it to start first veterinary college in 1762 at Lyons in France. Then the susceptibility at mainly the cattle, the buffaloes, and also reported in the sheep and goat and pigs. The susceptibility also reported in deer, antelope, the wild buffaloes, the wild boyars, the buck, bushbuck, warthogs, and giraffe. The mortality is 100% exotic breed and at 20 to 50% in mortality in indigenous breeds. Then the transmission of the disease incubation period is 2 to 3 days in experimental inoculation, and in contact infection is 60 to 7 days. So in case of experimental inoculation, experimental inoculation, then the disease will occur in 2 to 3 days, but due to contact infection it occurs in 6 to 9 days. Virus excreted in body secretion, ingestion of contaminated feed and water through which virus is entered into the animal body, inhalation or mechanical transmission. Then the pathogenesis: virus is inhaled in infected droplets. It penetrates through the epithelium of upper respiratory tract and multiply in the tonsils and regional lymph nodes. From here it enters the blood in mononuclear cells, which disseminate to other lymphoid organs, lungs, epithelial cells of mucous membrane. Rinderpest virus has high degree of affinity for lymphoid tissue and the mucous membrane of alimentary tract. Then the pronounced destruction of lymphocytes in tissues and is responsible for marked leukopenia. Then the focal necrotic stomatitis and enteritis are the direct result of viral infection. The replication in the epithelial cells in the alimentary tract. Then the pronounced destruction of the lymphocytes in tissue and is responsible for marked leukopenia. Focal necrotic stomatitis enteritis in the direct result of viral infection and replication in the epithelial cells of the alimentary tract. Then that is usually from the severe dehydration, but in less acute cases that may from the activated latent parasitic and bacterial infections. The infections aggravate because the animal is immunosuppressed and result of destruction of the lymphoid organ by the virus. Then the clinical signs: fever, restlessness, dryness of the muscle, and constipation occur. The other signs include the photophobia excessive thirst steady coat, rendered rumination anorexia, and excessive salivation. Then the rashes may develop in those part of the body where the hair is fine in nature. Mucous membrane of lips, the jams and tongue reveal the small vesicles resembling the brain-like deposits. And shooting diarrhea with foetid odor. Dehydration also occur at a marked leukopenia with a drop in the lymphocyte count. So lymphocyte count will be dropped in Rinderpest disease. Then the gross lesions, the virus produces lesions in the oral mucosa after setting the cells of the viremic state. And the forestomach is free. The abomasum reveals the necrotic foci, hemorrhagic streaks are seen in the pyloric region. The folds of abomasum are thick and oedematous. If the disease progresses, abomasal mucosa shows the irregular ulcer of different size. The virus has got affinity for lymphoid tissue in the intestine, and Peyer's patches are swollen and ulcerated. Duodenum and the ileum reveals the streaks of hemorrhages and erosions. In the large intestine, the ileocecal valves may be marked swollen. Line hemorrhages on the fold of mucosa of the rectum appears zebra marking, which is pathognomonic in Rinderpest. Lesions more severe in large intestine with ulceration and diphtheric patches. Liver the chronic passive congestion result from the cardiac and pulmonary complications. Patecy and erosions in the larynx. Tracheal hemorrhages occur. Alveolar and intestinal emphysema also occur. Subepithelial and subendothelial hemorrhages occur. Patecy and erosions may be seen in the bladder and vagina. Purulent conjunctivitis and ulceration of the cornea may be noticed. In sheep, goat, the mouth lesions are usually not seen. Then the microscopic lesions are epithelial surface reveals the ulcers, hemorrhages, edema, necrosis, and leukocytic infiltration among the multinucleated cells. Then the eosinophilic cytoplasm inclusion bodies from the mucosal epithelium cells and the giant cells. Intranuclear inclusion bodies also seen, also rare. Then the diagnosis of the disease, Rinderpest. Diagnosis includes symptoms and lesions. The complement fixation test also done. Agar gel precipitation test, virus isolation and diagnosis of the tissue cultures. Using specific cDNA probes, isolation of Rinderpest and PPR virus can be differentiated presently. Then the polymerase chain reaction through which the PPR is through which the Rinderpest is diagnosed. So thank you, friend.